Hello everyone and welcome. Today I wanted to talk to you about rebirth and the discomforts of rebirth. The thing is people think you only die once, but you die numerous, probably thousands of times before you actually physically leave this planet. And here's why. When you're, like a verse in the Bible says, when I was a child, I did childish things, and when I became a man, an adult, I put away those childish things. I think, as you think as an adult, you speak as an adult, you act as an adult, right? Or your age, quote unquote. That's not to kill your inner child, though. So, you put away some childhood friends, you outgrow them. And that's part of the rebirth. You're mentally, physically, emotionally, too big for something. Like physically, you get, as you get older, you get too big for your clothes, your shoes, socks, your garments. As you go through school, K through 12, you mentally outgrow people. That's why they call them childish, because you left them in the past. That's another rebirth. So it was uncomfortable, that split, no matter how good or bad the separation was. It's like being reborn. You got a crown, and then you got to squeeze through a tight space and go through all this friction just to be reborn and become anew again. And it's the same thing with jobs, like career changes and everything. The whole thing is your final rebirth, or a rebirth at some point in your life. Like myself, for example, I've never taken a job that couldn't translate into my real life, like that couldn't help me when I retire and help me become more self-sufficient in real life. Never taken a job that wasn't going to provide that education for me. So, it's better to choose jobs that, you're going to get an education that's going to help you in real life. Not just something that's going to work for the company. Get something that's going to work for you too. Because it's a very narcissistic system, and they want to be a part of everything that you do, which is why, cliche saying, if Uncle Sam doesn't get paid for it, it's illegal, right? Pretty much. Well, that's not even a cliche saying, that's just one of my things. If Uncle Sam doesn't get paid for it, if he isn't attached to it, then they can't tax it, it's illegal. So it's a very narcissistic system. They try to demonize everything you do that doesn't involve you getting taxed. But yet and still, these churches, spreading this religious poison, they aren't getting taxed at all, because they're spreading the narcissistic message. They're keeping men as narcissists, because that's what the Bible from my perspective, the Bible teaches men narcissism and women submissiveness, subservience to men. And we're all slaves to somebody. Sorry. Ooh, bad time to sneeze. But yeah, you all grow clothes, you all grow friends, you leave high school, go to college. The friends that aren't going to college, they their rebirth is uncomfortable, because they are, your rebirth was premature. So the separation for them was premature. They weren't ready, but you were. So it's discomfort on both sides, on all different levels. And the whole thing is, you were birthed into the system. It started when they gave you a birth certificate and a social security number. So you go through several rebirths in this system and within yourself, but they want your only rebirth to be within their system, right? And with you being taxed and, paying hella taxes to them, and, basically making that separation between the rich and slave class. Excuse me, a little tongue-tied right now. And, when you get too big for something, when your thought process is too big to stay a slave to the system, and spiritually, things just don't, things just stop agreeing with your spirit. They never did. And it becomes such a nuisance, because once you know something, once you learn something, it's really hard to forget that, to unlearn it, to deprogram yourself. And you are doing yourself a disservice if you do. If you even try, because that's something you're supposed to know to help you grow. That's nutrients coming from the umbilical cord of the universe. So what happens, like with a baby, it gets too big, it gets uncomfortable, and it starts making that push. and it starts trying to, you know, barrel its way out. Or some of them, you know, they want to stay in. And your old friends and stuff, they call you a traitor, they call you two-faced fraud. Oh man, you changed. Like, change is a bad thing. You know, butterflies change, you know, from caterpillars, you know, those little unattractive creatures, you know, that change into these beautiful creatures. They, you know, they made a big change. That's a huge metamorphosis, man. And you know, they don't hate on the butterfly because it turned into something beautiful. But when they see what it once was, you know, they think it was just a worm, not even worth, you know, stopping to look at. But people go to butterfly sanctuaries and stand and stare in awe. You know, they don't want you to be something that people want to stand and stare at. They don't want you to be something transformative, and they don't want you to transform into your true self, you know, because they know what that means for them. It means that you take off and fly, while they're stuck around eating leaves off the ground, or eating whatever, scavenging basically, and you're soaring, getting the best quality of air and everything, you know, soaring above the exhaust and everything like that. So yes, rebirth is painful, you know, like the space is cramped, you know, because there's like, the whole thing is, once you're reborn so many times, it's like you've grown into a space, you know, that gets bigger, and it gets bigger and bigger, you know, like, because it's not lonely at the top, it's selective. Not everybody makes it there. It's exclusive. Let's say that. Let's say it's exclusive, because not everybody makes it there. Not everybody's trying to get there. Everybody's called. Everybody gets the call. Not everybody answers, and most don't make it, you know. So there's that. So through this system, and through your spiritual journey, your journey through life, you know, it's like just a bunch of discomfort, man. It's just a bunch of cramped space, because everybody's there, you know. Like, there's so many people at this level in life who aren't trying to grow. They're stuck here, they're complacent here, they're happy here, they're trying to go back into the womb and stay there. You know, that's on them. But, you know, it becomes toxic when they try to keep you there. You know, say the fraternal twins, or you know, what are twins in general, you know, if one tried to pull the other back into the womb, that'd be a fight. You know, they probably come out of the womb fighting, and one getting, you know, dragged out trying to hold on to the other, a crab in a barrel type mentality. But usually twins are pretty you know, pretty similar. And there will be people who will try to pull you back into that cramped space with them. You know, they want you to crowd them out. You know, they want you to crowd them, but they don't feel, but they're comfortable with being crowded. You're not comfortable with being crowded. You need your space. You need your elbow room. You need room, and that's why pregnancy hurts so bad. You know, for the mother who's giving the birth. And, you know, not just pregnancy, but, you know, well, not just the birth, but the pregnancy in general. Sorry, I got this mixed up kind of. You know, because I know when I was pregnant with my son, his knee was in my rib the entire time. It was just like right in my rib on the left side, just sticking away. It became cramped. He was a tall baby. Yeah, and he didn't waste any time trying to come out either. Like, he was really trying to get up out of it. That's how I knew my son was gonna be, you know, something awesome. One of the ways. And even now, he's still showing me, you know, that he's growing too big for his space. He's, you know, he's bigger than me now at 15, and, you know, taller, and, you know, he's able to pick me up and all that, you know, and just like carry my stuff up the stairs. Just becoming a, you know, real genuine kid and a genuine young man. So he, like myself, you know, he listens to his spirit, you know, and kids are taught to go against their spirit, you know, and that's the parents trying to pull them back into the womb, because they're trying, in order to protect them from the world, you know, do this and stay in the womb of the system, and you'll be protected if you go against your spirit, if you don't say things like this. Because kids they're so smart and they're so honest, and people, we just don't give them enough credit, man. We try to downplay them and talk to them like they're stupid. Talk to them like little adults, you know. You don't have to curse at them and stuff like that. Just talk to them like little adults, you know. They have logic and reason, and explain to them why it's wrong, you know. You don't have to use don't use big words, of course, but yeah, talk to them like little adults, and they will ask questions. What's that? What does that mean? You know, and have fun explaining that to them, because that's, you know, that's your way of feeding them the nutrients that they need to grow and rebirth themselves into another human being. So the next thing you know, now, you know, it's from goo goo gaga, you know, just a bunch of babble. And now, you know, they're forming sentences. You know, they're asking questions and things like that. You know, and the whole thing is like, we spend so much time letting our kids go out to play outside, and then spend the rest of their life telling them to sit down and shut up. You know, it make sense, man. You know, kids will be kids, but you know, there's ways to discipline. It's not for sitting in a classroom for 8 hours a day. You know, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure y'all are like, what do you suggest? I suggest homeschooling right now. You know, but it's like, not making excuses. If my son were with me, if he decided that he wanted to come back home to his mom, and, you know, not, you know, or anytime he's here, actually, anytime he is with me, you know, we're outside doing stuff. And then I, you know, teach him stuff outside in nature, because it's like, there's nothing in a classroom that you can't translate outside in nature. And, you know, and you could teach them more outside in nature and just out and about. You know, teach them how to balance a checkbook, teach them how to, you know, start a garden, and all kinds of different stuff. Teach them how to work on cars, you know, because it's amazing from what I've seen and what I've heard from some guys, or a lot of these guys out here don't even know how to change put a spare tire on their car. So if they get stuck on the side of the road, it's roadside assistance all the way. They're fucked, which is a sad thing to see in this day and age. All they do know how to do these days is roll blunts, smoke, pop pills, and cry. You know, cry and hate women. that's pretty much it. But you know, my son is in no rush to grow up. You know, which is typical with guys. Neither was I when I was a child, but you know, it was definitely forced. So I wasn't, you know, one of those chicks trying to be out there, all grown, chasing after boys, and, you know, batting my eyes at every motherfucker or every loser that, you know, showed me some attention, because I didn't care about attention. And I still don't care about attention. I just care about, you know, did you get the message? Do you understand the message? Is it resonating with you? Is it, you know, giving you any fruition? So, yeah, rebirth yourself, you know, because you get to an age that you're in complete control of your rebirth. I mean, life is about choosing consequences, but what are the consequences really? You struggle a little bit, you know, from a career change, or, you know, there's financial pain and loss, possibly. But once you reach a certain level, now that financial gain will come back on top of you saving money for being more efficient for yourself, because you don't have to spend money, you know, being at somebody else's mercy, basically, because we're at the mercy of these farms, these fertilizer companies, these pesticide companies, you know, the government itself, government itself. So yeah, work on your own rebirth, man. You gotta learn how to make that happen for yourself, because it doesn't make sense to work for a company for 20 plus years and all you know how to do is file away papers, you know, because it offers you job security, because it came with a union. You know, that it doesn't make sense, you know, because the hours were great, the pay was great, but, you know, there's been incidences where they fire a person the day before they're about to retire, and they get nothing. All that gone. You know, you spent 20 years, and because they wanted to set you up, or they felt some kind of way, or they wanted to save on their taxes, you lost it all. Everything you worked for, all the little seeds you planted, unless you had like a 401k, yada yada yada, and you know, a life insurance policy, cash value, set it aside, then, you know, you lost fucking everything, man. Like everything. Like these elderly people, what was the name of that company? Enron. They got screwed out of so much money they could have retired over, and they had to become Walmart greeters because they got screwed over by corporate greed, you know. And You know, there's many other cases like that, and I hate to see that happen to anyone. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, because you worked hard and honest for that money. Anything you work hard and honest for, I do not wish to see a loss of it. You know, especially for these people who do not appreciate shit. You know, you break your back for them, and they're talking to you about fucking, I'm sorry, they're talking to you about overtime. You know, like, who, y'all, my back is breaking right now. You're talking to me about overtime, sir or ma'am? Like, you know, get lost, please. Like, find you a hobby or something, you know, because there's more to life than this. Is just this job. And that's what it is. If it doesn't translate into your life and providing your life sustenance, you know, on or off the clock, then it's a job. It's not a career. You can call it a career all day because you know how to file papers, because, you know, you're good with bookkeeping. That, granted, that does provide financial literacy of some sort, but there's, you know, like the manager of such and such and such and such, and I don't know if I could say names. I already said Walmart, but, you know, that's a household name at this point. But you definitely don't want to be of old age, of retirement age, and know how to do anything for yourself, and have to use your retirement funds, you know, your fixed income, and be at other people's mercy because you don't know how to do anything for yourself. It's understandable if you're too, like, decrepit. That's why health is wealth as well. Like, if you could do all the things in your older age as you did when you were younger, you might do it slower, you know, but that makes the quality even better, you know, because a lot of us young folks, you know, we like to speed run through life, speed through everything. Oh, we got it done. We got places to go, things to do. But when you're of a retirement age, a lot of people, they retire and they kill themselves because they really don't know what to do with their life, you know, because they didn't develop any skills in the workplace as well that would translate into their life, much less their retirement, you know, and give them something to do. They don't know how to garden, so they sit around the house, you know, waiting for the grandkids to call, waiting for the rest of the family to call, and they call the rest of the family, you know, they're too busy, or they just flat out don't want to be bothered, or they put them in a retirement home and they end up just dying alone. And, you know, they just don't live a full life at the end of their life. They just simply exist, which is terrible. I mean, in my humble opinion, you know, but, you know, learn something that you could turn into a hobby at old age, man. So there's a lot of older people who are out here doing this, you know, they're retiring, they have all this money to sit on, and then it's just like, what is the point of living if there's no one to share it with? Right? Because people think it's cool to be friendless and alone. It's like, it's not, you know, it's not. It depends on, you know, the type of people you're attracting at that point in your life. You either need to do the inner work, or you need to clear the air. You need to clear the air in the area and get yourself away from certain people. Like, the spiritual journey is a path you go alone, but, you know, the whole thing is you are set apart. And that's what they mean by being alone, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You know, you're pretty much alone on the spiritual path. But it also keeps you amongst people, and the people who are not on that path, to build your tolerance and your endurance to do so. And these are the people that are to help you as well, develop more skills that translate into your life. And, you know, of course, like, when you're learning something, you need somebody else to teach you. You need sometimes you need a team, sometimes you need one other solid person to teach you everything you need to know. But as long as you learn it, as long as you can translate it into your I got bags on the box, into your reality, and not just making money for somebody else, and it could possibly turn a profit for you. It could, you know, if not even it does turn a profit for you either way, because you could keep it for yourself, or you could sell it to other people, one way or another, you know. Yes, rebirth yourself. That's basically this message. And when I say rebirth yourself, that is exactly what I mean. Break free from the system and learn how to do all the things you would need to survive on your own, so that you don't need the system and you're not at somebody else's mercy per se. With that, I leave you. It's a beautiful sunset. Drink plenty of water. Health is wealth. Don't let anybody dictate what you're worth. You tell the world what you're worth, and heal properly. Be sure to heal properly, inside and out. And most importantly, you already know what I'm gonna say. Life is too short to be minding other people's business, so it's best to just mind your own. Peace.